What's up? What's up? What's up, you guys? How art thou? How's everybody doing? Cheers to the week. How are you doing, my guy?
Man, I'm great. I'm great. Just
Great.
been busy. Yeah,
Busy.
mucho busy. Yeah, just
He
really
said he been
busy.
busy.
But it's good though. It's good to stay busy, stay productive, and see what's
Always.
happening.
You had a great weekend?
Yeah, I can't complain.
I don't
You
like how you
know,
said
I
that.
just
I don't
getting
like how you
things
said that.
done.
Yeah, well,
No, getting things done. You
he
know,
goes like,
nothing
heck yeah.
exciting. Nothing exciting. You know, I ain't go to no parties and then like that. You know, I ain't really get involved in too much.
Mm-hmm.
But steady progress. So I can't complain about that. And the weather has been nice over the last couple of days. So that's a plus.
So the weather has been nice or has not been
Oh,
nice?
it has been. It's been very nice. It's been very nice.
Oh, okay. That's what's up. We had the weekend
How's
was
the
kind of
weather up
nice
in New
here.
York?
And then now it's back cool again. It was so I was saying it was kind of nice and it got kind of cool again today. So it goes like
Oh,
back
okay.
and forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It goes back and forth, back and forth. How are you guys doing in the chat? What's up to you all? Thank you for tuning in. We are back here Monday after sports show. Myself, Kaja, and my guy Nadi from the ATL Shouty.
What up, Truck D
Trucky
in the
said, "What
house?
up, Nadi?"
What's up?
Truck. All right, you
Yeah,
guys, we're
big
gonna get right
Cowboys
into
fan.
it. All
Big
right, because the
Cowboys fan
Lakers,
might
a
be a
lot
bit
has been
delusional.
said. Oh, really? We're gonna get
Right.
right into. Can you guys hear me? Put in the chat if you guys can hear me. We're gonna get right into it, you guys. All right. We're gonna start in the NBA. All right. Lakers are currently number 3 in the West. Luka has been doing his big ones. Got you guys fooled. Putting him in the MVP conversation. We know how that goes. But we're gonna look at the standings real quick, you guys. I'm gonna add this right here. Blow this up so we can see what's going on. Nada, can you hear me? You good?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I can hear you fine.
All right, cool. Want to make sure. So as you can see right now, the Lakers, Lakers are currently sitting at third, as I was just saying, in the West. Right now, they are playing the Pistons, and actually, it's a very, very close game, surprisingly, without my guy Cade. But I'm not surprised because they're going to play hard. What do you think about the Lakers, though? Do you like their chances of them getting to the NBA Finals the way
No,
they're playing right
no.
now?
No, I don't see the
No.
Lakers. No, stop. They're having a good run. They're having a good stretch. Luka is playing some very
Mm-hmm.
inspiring basketball. I can understand why he's
Mm-hmm.
moving up the MVP ladder, but he's not gonna. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's too late for him to overcome the other guys who are at the top. But I
Okay.
gotta give the Lakers credit. They're playing really good basketball right now. They're defending. They're making clutch shots when they need to,
Mm-hmm.
and they're playing solid basketball. I mean, their last 10 games, I mean, what, they won 9 straight, and tonight they'll probably end up winning 10 straight. So I'm inspired by
How
how
many
they
right now? The Pistons are winning.
Yeah, but the Lakers have been winning a lot of close games lately, and that's what I mean. They've been able to perform well in the clutch and down the
Mm-hmm.
stretch. So I don't think tonight will be any different. I still expect the Lakers to end up coming back and winning this basketball
Mm-hmm.
game. But I got to give credit where credit doing. LeBron is playing great. I mean, Austin
Mm-hmm.
Reeves is he's doing his part. DeAndre Ayton has finally decided he want to show up and he want to be a part of the
Mhm,
program. So
mhm.
um yeah, I like the way the Lakers are playing, but when you talk about winning the championship and being a championship contender, I don't see them as being a championship contender. I don't see them competing with the likes. I'm talking about in a 7-game series, a team like the Thunder, the Nuggets, and even the Spurs with Wemby the way he's performing. So, but I give them credit where credit is due for the regular season. They're playing great right now.
For me, I call this a fool's gold. I'm just gonna call it what it is. I don't have them getting to the finals unless something crazy happens and somebody gets hurt. On the Spurs, like Wimby's out of it, SGA or someone who's like really crucial to the teams that I think are real like legit contenders in the West. I do not see the Lakers getting to the finals. I will give them credit enough. I will give Luka credit enough. Although I don't believe he wouldn't be my MVP. I already said that, but I will give him credit for increasing. I should say increasing what I'm looking for. I should say stepping up his level of play. The last few games, but for me, they don't have enough depth on this roster. I said that a long time ago, and it's still. I mean, they added Luke. Luke, which is good. Marcus Smart. He gives you his absolute best. When he
Right.
plays, but DeAndre Ayton to me is the wild card. I think it's too much on him. Outside of we know what Luka's gonna give, what LeBron's gonna give when it comes time to compete. I know what AR is gonna give me, but DeAndre Ayton to me is too much of a wild card. I don't know if I'm gonna give him 99 out. Some nights, he wants to play like he cares. Other nights, he's looking like he could care less. He's ready to go home for the season, ready to head to Cancun. So I don't know what I'm going to give him. For that reason, I can't. I just can't.
Yeah, I understand that, and like you say, depth may be an issue. I do like Rui. I like Marcus Smart when he's healthy
Mm-hmm.
and available. He's just a heady player who's going to play hard.
Mm-hmm.
If again your thing about DeAndre Ayton, his inconsistency, if he can be more consistent, then it
Mm-hmm.
makes Jackson Hayes more valuable with the minutes that you can get from him off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
He's just another guy who's good at rim running and he can
Mm-hmm.
get you some rebounds. So they have and Luke Kennard hit a big shot the other night, a game winning shot against Orlando. So they have some guys that can knock down some big shots, some huge shots. But to me, when you're talking about the playoffs, you're going to be playing teams that they're going to strategize against you. You're playing
Mm-hmm.
good quality teams. And I just don't think the Lakers have enough defensively. Yes,
Yeah,
JJ
I agree.
Redick, I got to give him credit. He's dialing up some
Mm-hmm.
defenses. He's
I
strategizing
like
against some
JJ.
of the yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's strategizing against some of the top players, but at the end of the day, your best 3 players are defensive liabilities, in my opinion. You're talking about a 41-year-old LeBron James, Luka, he's played better on both ends of the floor recently, but I don't know if he can sustain that. And then
Mm-hmm.
Austin Reeves, these are liabilities on defense, and it's just hard to mask those inefficiencies when it's time to come to the playoffs when you're playing good teams who have multiple scoring options.
I do not think LeBron is a defensive liability. If I'm being honest, I don't think he is. I will say, what concerns me though is that obviously he's older. There are times when I watch him play where I feel like he looks like he's like a little bit winded. He's
Right.
like okay, like I need a break. Like I can't like I used to. I feel like I do see that at times from him. But that other game, I forgot who they were playing, where he dove on the ball. I was like, you got
That
LeBron
was
out there
Denver.
diving on a loose ball at his age. Everybody should be ashamed on this court. How was this man about to be 42 on the freaking ball, and you guys just standing there? That is unacceptable. But I respect it though. I respect it. I,
Hey,
I I trust LeBron. I do. He's not my favorite. He's not my goat, but I trust LeBron.
yeah. I mean, I trust LeBron. LeBron wants to win. If if the Lakers do have any chance of winning a championship, it's because they have LeBron.
Hmm.
I trust LeBron. I trust
I
LeBron
agree.
more than I trust everybody else on that team. And
I agree.
he's just, and even down the stretch of these games, LeBron is everybody follows his lead. he makes the decisions on who's gonna do what when, and
Mhm.
it's working. I mean, he's still
Mhm.
probably has the highest IQ in basketball. I mean, what he's doing at this
Mhm.
stage of his career it's amazing to me. It's I've never seen anything like this before. I seen Kareem when he got older. I seen Robert Parrish when he got older.
Mhm.
I saw Michael Jordan when he got older. Those guys were a shell of themselves.
Mhm.
LeBron is still one of the best players in the league. It's just amazing to watch. And when he's gone, he's gonna be missed. But but again, if there's any chance the Lakers have of winning it, it's gonna be on the
Mhm.
durability of LeBron James in the playoffs. And the longer these series go, the worse it is for the Lakers.
I agree with you as far as that goes, like the series going longer, 5 games, 6 games, so on and so forth. But for me, like I said, the wild card to me comes down DeAndre Ayton. He's gonna have to step up and be consistent. He can't have, one game that's good and then two more that's bad. One series he's great, the next series, it's like, APB out for him. Where is he at? You can't find him, put him on the back of a milk carton, so to speak. You can't have that in the playoffs. Luka is Luka. Luka's gonna give you what he's gonna give you offensively, of course. I will give him some credit. He's been playing a little bit of defense this season, just a tad bit, more than the norm for him. So I'll give him that. But Luka, like I said, he's not gonna do but so much defense. You know what I mean? He's not
Right.
gonna do but so much because he's so
Agreed.
talented. When it comes to offense, he's not gonna go back and forth like that. He's like, you're gonna take this 35, 10, and 12 and be happy, and that's that. And he's gonna move on from there. Um, my thing is AR. Is he gonna come off the bench? You're gonna put him in starting lineup. I feel like he's better coming off the bench, with that second unit because him and Luca do the same things pretty much, and the ball's gonna be at Luca's hand.
I agree. I agree with that. I've been saying that the whole season. Maybe they should just have AR come off the bench to get them extra
Mhm.
firepower, and when you sit
Yeah.
LeBron or Luca down,
Yep.
and he can pretty much keep your scoring level and balanced. But I'm just looking at it right now. If the playoffs start
Mhm.
today, the Lakers will have the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't know if that's a good matchup for the LA Lakers,
I think it is.
considering yeah, I know the reason why I don't think so is
Mhm.
based on what you just said. You said
Mhm.
DeAndre Ayton is the wild card. Well,
He is, yeah.
DeAndre Ayton will struggle against Rudy Gobert and Nas Reed. I mean, either way, they're already not really feeding DeAndre Ayton the ball, but you're
Mhm.
not going to feed him the ball against Rudy Gobert
Mhm.
and against Nas Reed. Now you're going to take DeAndre Ayton away from the paint because he got to honor what Nas
Mhm.
Reed is capable of doing on the perimeter. And then
Mhm.
who's going at man? you know, like you can't put Luka on them. You can't put LeBron on them. You can't put
I'm gonna
AR
say
on them.
I'm gonna say
It's a
Marcus Smart.
problem.
If I had to guess, I
Oh,
would I
you
would say
can't. Oh,
Marcus Smart. That's
God,
my
yeah.
guess. I'm not JJ.
Yeah,
That's just
I'm
what
just
I'm
saying
guessing.
that's you're gonna have to run two people at him and hope you
Yeah,
can
probably
get the
like
ball
switch,
out of
yeah.
his
You know what I mean? Yeah,
right
absolutely.
and get the ball out of his hand and allow those other guys to beat you. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just
That's
don't
always
think
gonna be the game plan. Ant-Man to me,
right.
I give them more credit for being able to beat the Wolves this season because it's just Ant-Man. Nas Reed is like 6'11". I think wingspan is like 7'4" or something. He's really, really tall, but there are too many nights to me. I'm just like, I need you. I need more from you. At this point, you got paid. You have the all the physical attributes. I need you to give me more. Rudy to me, I don't trust Rudy at all. I'm not even
I don't
sure he
trust
got
Rudy either.
Defensive Player of the Year like all the times that he got it because nobody else
Right.
was out there. Like but this okay. Just give it to him. He's the tallest. He's the best, I guess. But to me, Rudy, I don't trust him. To me, he should be given at least 15 points every single game at least. Like you are right there by the rim. He's just a little bit too soft for me. To I don't trust him. The only
Yeah,
person I
but it's
really
DeAndre
trust,
Ayton.
the only person I trust on that team to show up, who I know is gonna show up,
hmm
is Ant Man. Outside of that, I don't trust anybody else.
Against the Lakers, I trust Julius Randle against the Lakers because who they have to guard him? Who's gonna guard Julius
I
Randle?
like Julius,
Um,
but there's been some games I'm like, Julius, what's going on? And my
who?
guy Bones is there. Shout out to Bones Highland, real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
Forgot
Shout out to
about my
him.
guy
He
Bones.
played a pretty good game against Boston yesterday. He was in
I
there
play with my
in,
guy. Put
in
some
crunch.
respect
He had
on
some
my
tough
guy.
shots. He had some tough shots.
Hmm.
But I mean, and maybe he can be a factor. But you know,
He will be.
I like Minnesota team. I like Jaden
Uh-huh.
McDaniels. He's
He's
tough.
too temperamental
Again,
to me.
yeah, he's
I'm like,
very temperamental. But
I'm
in
like,
playoff
dude,
time, that's where you
relax.
right in the playoff time. That's where you need it. And I like they have shooters. I like if you're gonna send two at Ant Man, and then DiVincenzo is gonna get a lot of looks, a lot of good looks. I just like the matchups that they have, and they can run with those guys. They got more
Mm-hmm.
young legs. They can if you run, can LeBron keep up? If you just running, can he keep up at this stage? Like you said, sometimes in games he gets a little gassed, and that's the way it's been the last few
He gotta
years.
slow it down.
Correct. So it's gonna be it'll come down to who can control tempo, and that could be the difference if they
Yeah.
were to play in the first
Um.
round.
Yeah. Luka also, he's not someone that's going to be sprinting back and forth either. You got to
Right.
slow it down a little bit too. So it's not like it's just LeBron on that side. It's the both of them. And AR to me is not really fast, either.
No, no, no.
But when it comes to Minnesota, sets the tone. Ant Man comes out, and he's on one. He's in one of his moves where he's like, you're not stopping me at all." Like you Minnesota's going to have a really, really good, and they make it really hard for him. Those games are typically lose, and because it all runs through Ant Man, and he's been the one that pretty much carries the team. He's the face of that franchise,
Right.
obviously. You slow him down, or you take him out of the game. Who else is going to step up consistently in the 7 game series? Or I'm going to say at least 5. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say 7, but at least best out of 5 or whatever. Like I said, Jaden is too temperamental. Talented but temperamental. So that's why I'm like, there's been some games this season, a few games actually, more than I care to, that I'm happy about with Julius Randle. I'm like, Julius, what you doing? Like, what's going on? What's happening? So
Right.
we're gonna see. I don't like that matchup. Honestly, I'd rather a different matchup. Boost, you got a problem.
Well, the Lakers
You
are
got a
either gonna
problem.
play right. Well, they're either gonna play Houston, Denver, or Minnesota in the first round. I don't like any of those matchups for the Lakers. I think they're all death blows. They're just not good matchups for them. So, but we'll see where they end up. At least if they finish in the top 3, they'll have home court advantage, and that could be a positive thing for the Lakers. But I don't think it really matter. Even though they played well against Houston, JJ Redick has figured out how to contain
Mm-hmm.
KD, and that's gonna be important. But those other guys on Houston, they just got to step up. Now you've seen
Mm-hmm.
it twice what JJ Redick is gonna do. It's time for Ime Udoka. I think he's a good coach. If you already seen what they're gonna do twice, then now you should be able to make those adjustments and play off of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be interesting. We got about another month of this season, and then things are gonna get real interesting,
Yeah, about a
especially in the
month. Yeah.
West. And I think
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna get interesting in the East too, because you got some teams at the bottom
You think so?
who are really
Yeah.
hot.
I will say about the Rockets. I didn't like KD going there. I said that in off season and when the rumor started, I didn't like that. I didn't like him going there. The team to me should have stayed running through Alfred Sengun. I don't think switching it to KD's team, so to speak, was the right move. Not because he's not talented, not because he's not, he can't still score, but because he's older. He's in a different place right now. That
Mm-hmm.
team before he got there, they're athletic, they're moving fast, they'll find up and down the court. He was a little bit slower. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you kind of taking them out of out of their natural groove and how in situations that they thrive in. You know what I mean? So for me, it should have stayed running through Alfred Sengun. They did very well with that. You throw KD in there, it should hopefully, in a perfect world, it goes to the next level. But they switched it, I think, because who KD is and so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
I didn't like that move. I think it's a mistake.
Well, they traded offense for defense. You know, they got offense and sacrificed some of the defense. When they lost Fred Van Vliet before the season,
Hmm.
I was like, I can't. I'm not putting any trust in the Houston Rockets going for as far as being a true contender for an NBA
Hmm.
title. I just think Fred Van Vliet was too important of a piece,
Hmm.
and they really haven't replaced him. And his
I like
production,
Reed. I think he's been doing kind of fine.
yeah,
I was
but
kind of
he's
hard
not
on him.
Van Vliet. Van Vliet is a
No,
proven
he's Reed. Yeah,
right, right, and he doesn't have the experience, especially come playoff time. Van Vliet is a champion. He
they
he
play a little
he.
bit better with him, I think, than they do without him.
You saying they play better with Van Vliet?
No, they play, well, he's not playing right now. I'm just saying,
Right,
this season, obviously, Ime has been trusting Reed a little bit more.
right, right,
But at
right.
one point, and I was a little bit hard on him at first. I'm not saying he's Fred Van Vliet's going to replace him, but there are times I notice when he comes in, when he's running point, they play better.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Play
I
two
mean,
without him. So
he
I will give him that.
he's definitely done a great job with the development of Reed
Hmm.
Shepard. But still, when the regular season is one animal, and then the playoffs is a
Of
whole nother
course,
animal.
yeah,
And I
he was
just
doing
personally,
for last year.
right, and for myself, I trust guys who've been there and done that,
Hmm.
and that's what Fred has done. He's been there, he's done that, and
It's a
he
two
was a
point
big
game. 2 point game. Lakers and Pistons. Go ahead.
he was a huge contributor to
Hmm.
what the Houston Rockets have been building over the past 3-4 years. Now he's
Hmm.
gone, and you bring KD in, and you lose some of your defensive players, is particularly Brooks.
Hmm.
So
Shout
I
out to
just
Dylan Brooks. He's been doing really well
oh
in
yeah, he's
Phoenix,
been
shooting
playing
the
well in
ball,
Phoenix, and
showing everybody that he could shoot. He's more
look
than
at
just
Phoenix.
more than just defense.
Phoenix with KD couldn't even make the play in last year. They take away KD, they add some younger pieces and add some defensive players in, and look at them. Look where they at now. So I understand what KD is. He's a scorer. He's a pure scorer. He's not a leader. He's the greatest role player to ever play, and he gonna give you his 26. But like you said, Sengun needs to get his. Amen Thompson needs to get his. The
Hmm.
rest of the team need to get his, and they still have to be able to buckle down on defense
Hmm.
because when Ime went to Houston, that was their calling card.
Yeah.
Their ability to play defense, and I just think they sacrificed too much of defense to get KD. He 26
Shout out to my
ain't gonna be enough.
Thompson twins. I'm gonna
Yeah,
shout out
20
Amen Thompson for that buzzer beater he had the other day.
for
I was
sure,
like,
for
shit. I was
sure.
watching it. I was like, yes. Go
Oh yeah,
ahead.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
The kid is great. I mean, and he still got room for growth.
He does. Yeah.
So
He
I
hasn't
mean, he
even
could be
peaked yet. So yeah.
right. He could be a true superstar in this game.
Hmm. Yeah.
When it comes to Houston, I just think KD is gonna have to average 35, 36, 37
Hmm.
points a game for him to offset the defense that they lost. And can he do it? Of course, he's capable. But again, we're
Hmm.
talking about a guy who's closer to 40 than he is 30. So
All right, you guys, we're gonna move it on. Oh man, there was a lot of great games this weekend. Some games that were not as good, but there were some games that came
oh
right
yeah.
down. I mean, like right down. It's like the last 3 seconds where it was just a matter of, a lapse in judgment or a bad call or someone not paying attention. I'm gonna start with this game right here, you guys. I'm gonna start this one. I think I was messaging you about this one right here, man.
Oh yeah.
Craziness, craziness.
He makes both. It's still a one possession game. He missed the first.
Damn, Gina. For the first time since 1999 in 2026. Where do you think Florida went wrong with that?
Just down the stretch, they just made too many mistakes, turned the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
You miss a free throw, which you needed both free throws. But
Mm-hmm.
even when you made the free throw, you're up two. It reminded me of the All-Star game
Mm-hmm.
when the world was playing against the stars, and Wemby
Mm-hmm.
was like just don't give them a 3.
Yeah, he was tight.
That's
Yeah.
that's the only thing we that can beat us is the 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then they give up the 3. You're like, what do you? That's the only thing that can beat us. Don't give up the 3. And Florida just wasn't disciplined at the end, and it cost them. I think Florida was the better team, but they didn't play the best when it counted. Iowa did, and for that, Iowa deserves to go on to the next round. So kudos to Iowa, but Florida just made too many mistakes down the stretch, in my opinion, and Iowa was able to capitalize.
I think I messaged this to you. I didn't like going for 3 back-to-back possessions. You didn't need to do that. You still had plenty of time. Use the clock. You got the ball. Let them
Right.
foul you. Get to the free throw line. Maybe your nerves are going. You're like it's like what 10 seconds left. You want to hit the game-winning 3 or whatever have you. I get it from that standpoint. That's where discipline comes into me. And just knowing that okay, like time's on our side. This is like a 1-point game. We don't have to do anything crazy right now. Like we don't have to keep shooting threes. Like we don't need that right now. Just use the clock, and play smart. So to me, those back-to-back threes, I was like, why do you keep shooting threes? Stop! Don't shoot any more threes. I was like, after the first one they missed, I was like, don't do it again. I was at the gym yelling, don't do it again. And then I don't know what happened. I don't know if Boogie, shout out to Boogie. We watched him, back in high school. But I don't know if there was a miscommunication, because he kind of was like got back too late. Homeboy's already open in the corner, and he was just, went right for it all net. So those things happen though. But they did have a chance in the end. Not really a whole lot of time at all. Because they had more timeouts. They couldn't get the ball closer. So they did what they could do with about 3.9 seconds left, I believe.
Yeah,
On
they
the
had
clock.
4.5 seconds, and they
4.5.
didn't get a
Back
shot.
up. Yeah.
You gotta get a shot off.
I mean, they tried. I mean, you got to get it from all the way to the opposite side first. That's the first thing. And the defense, Iowa's defense was on. It was like, nope, nope, nope. we just gotta defend hard. It's like 4 seconds, and we get to move on to the next round. So it's unfortunate. I always say, if you get in, you can win. You get in, you can win. This is the one game. It doesn't matter what your record is at this point. Everybody's kind of starting at 0, so to speak. And you just got to be a better team or play better on that day. And that's just what it was. Down the stretch, they, like you say, they made some mistakes, and I will capitalize like you're supposed to. And they're moving on.
Yeah, Iowa also did a good job of stifling Florida's bigs. Florida got a lot of bigs, and the previous round they dominated with their bigs.
They did.
But Iowa was able to. They were up for the task. They were like, "You're not gonna bully us today," and they caused Florida to not get as many easy baskets around the rim as they normally do, and therefore they were shooting outside shots. And when things got tight, when the pressure was on, those outside shots were awful shots. They weren't even close to going in. So shout out to Iowa for playing a good game, because Iowa is known for controlling tempo, and for a lot of the game, and Florida is known for putting up a lot of points, is putting up a lot of shots. And I think Iowa won the tempo battle. They were able to get Florida to kind of come down to play at their pace a little bit more, and that kept them in the game. And when they kept them in the game, Florida got tight at the end, where Iowa, I guess they were looking at it like, we have nothing to lose. We're the number 9 seed. They're the number 1 seed. So the pressure, it was more pressure on Florida near the end than it was on Iowa. And I just think Florida, they succumbed to the pressure, whereas Iowa, they thrive in the clutch.
I guess maybe depending on how you look at it. Obviously, it succumbed to the pressure. For me, it was, I call it like the mental lapses in judgment. You know what I mean? When you have time, I know it's not a lot of time, but when it's a 1-point game, there's about 10 seconds left, 15 seconds. That's still a lot of time given how close the game is. And if you're winning, and you got the ball, and it's on your side, on your side of the court, like, don't do nothing crazy. Let them foul you.
Right.
They gotta foul you. If you're up, they gotta foul you. So like they have to do that, but time's gonna run out. So it's only two options, So you don't have to keep shooting threes. Like just chill. Like I said, nerves are probably going, you're like, trying to focus on get to the next round, not really thinking. Discipline. That's where discipline comes in. Sometimes experience, growth, maturity, different, and so on and so forth. Sometimes I think players feel like they need to like make the game winning play or the game winning shot, in these big moments, and sometimes you have to know that you don't need to do that, to win the game. It's more important that you win the
Yeah.
game, than you getting that three and then still losing.
Yeah, I just think because it was interesting that after Florida scored the free throw,
Hmm.
Florida called the timeout, which was their last timeout.
I don't know why I even did that. Yeah,
So that's why I'm like, I know Florida won the championship last year, and
they did.
the coaching was good, but I question Todd Golden's his decision making down the
Yeah,
stretch because
I agree. I get that.
you scored the free throw. Our doesn't have much time left. You call a timeout to give them opportunity. Now you probably want to set up your defense, but you're giving them a time to drop a
Yeah,
play, and then guess
exactly.
what? Your defense gave up the only thing you couldn't give up, so it didn't work. It was I don't know what he stressed during that timeout. I wish they would have put a mic in the huddle, and maybe they did, and it'll come out in the stories, in another week or so. But the message should have been clear. Just don't give up a three. Force everything to the basket. If anything, we go to overtime and we beat them then. But
Hmm.
you gave up a three, so I just don't understand why he called a timeout in the first place. And because Iowa had one more timeout. Allow Iowa, if anything, they're going to use their last timeout, run a play. Okay, let's say they still hit a three. Now you have a timeout with
Hmm.
4.5 seconds, and you can go draw something up and perhaps make a play. But I just think the coaching was terrible down the stretch as well.
Shout out to the Pistons. They beat the Lakers, man. Luka missed that
Okay,
game winning shot.
okay. Shout out to the Pistons, staying resilient.
Yeah. Jalen Durham was on that ass. Luka couldn't get that three off. He was like trying to get it. Jalen was like, "Nope, not happening, brother."
That's a big win for the Pistons because
Yeah, without Cade, yeah, it's a
yeah,
big win.
and you were talking. I know you were talking a lot, a few weeks ago that you didn't know if they had other players who could perform if Kate was out, and
On a
one of
consistent basis, yes.
on a consistent basis,
Yeah.
correct. And one of the players that struck me was, well, I was like, well, they got another all-star. He just got to
I
step
like
up his
Jalen Durham.
game.
Hmm.
Yeah, he just got to step up his game, and he got to be one of those guys, and he has to contribute. And
Hmm.
tonight he was able to get 20 and 11. I mean, that you got to have it. I got to have it. But
That's
they
typically
got,
what he gives anyway, even when Cade is there.
yeah, but the young man, Dennis Jenkins stepped up tonight. I mean, he gave you 30 points. And that's what you need. When your guy's out, somebody
Mhm.
got to step up.
Somebody has to. Yep.
I know my
Absolutely.
all-star is gonna give me all-star numbers because he's all-star, but who else is gonna step up and give me something when my big dogs is out? And Mr. Jenkins
Mhm.
stepped up tonight and scored 30 points. I mean, he was 11 for 18. He was 4 for 5 from three. So he
Mhm.
was pretty hot today. And it was a huge boost. And
I
that's the
will.
kind of thing that Detroit
Mhm.
needs. They need to build confidence for other guys because,
Absolutely.
like you, to your point, and this is why I'm not picking the Pistons. I didn't even
Mhm.
have them as one of my top contenders to come out of the East, even though they're
So you
playing
tried
well.
it. Hmm.
Who other guys, and this might be a blessing in disguise that
Hmm.
Cunningham is out. You're gonna need somebody else to roll with
Yeah,
you come playoff time. When you're in the
I
series
agree.
and it's 4 out of 7, you're gonna need somebody else to be another option and that third option.
Hmm.
Who's gonna be that third option that we can rely on going into the playoffs? So maybe in the next week or so, Detroit can answer some of the questions that
Hmm.
we have. I mean, some of the concerns that we have when it pertains to them and them playing in the playoffs.
I will say, they're so used to having Cade there, for the Lakers in terms of their defensive game plan. You're not really sure who's going to be like the next guy up. So trying to game plan, it's easier to game plan when you know who's going to be there. You know, you're used to
Right.
Cade being there, you know what he does, you know how he plays, you know how he gets others involved and so on and so forth, you know. But not having him there and having other people who are not necessarily the ones you see night in and night out come in and step up. You're not really sure who's going to step up where at what point, you know, kind of give him a little bit of an advantage. Jalen Duran, though, him guarding Luka, because Luka could shoot that three any day. But he
Right.
made it really, really hard for him to get that three off. You know, he got it off in time, but the form was also, you know, it didn't go in. It wasn't close. You know, but shout out to them. This is a good, good, like you said, confidence booster to know if we can win some games without Cade. And they can definitely win games without him. Don't get me wrong. But if he's not there for playoffs, you know, I'm concerned about that.
Oh yeah, if
You
he's
know,
not there for playoffs,
um,
they're done.
but it also goes by matchups, you know, who
Right.
you playing and so on and so forth. So they will, I think they definitely still have home court advantage. So that's
Yeah.
also a plus as well for them. So we're gonna see how that goes. But yeah, we're gonna get back into college because man, Kansas is out. Kansas is out. Darren Peterson out, eliminated you guys. Another one that people were so there was so many teams that people were so hyped up for, you know, AJ Advanza, you know, everybody wanted to see get, you know, far, you know, in the Sweet 16, the Final Four. Darren Peterson, Caleb, you know, he got hurt, you know, unfortunately before everything took place, you know, but UNC is out, you know. It's like, man, most people were hyped up to see. They're at home watching, but the rest of us. I'm gonna play this clip real quick, y'all. Oh man. What can you do? What can you do? Oh, he adds to stage. Y'all kind of quiet in the chat. Y'all watching March Madness or no? Y'all not watching? Drop your comments in the chat, man. How you feeling?
4 run. Ejiofor. What a shot. Batunga swats it away. The other way now. Council inside, up and off. Just come back 16 in the 2022 National Championship season with the full court pressure by KU.
This is getting close.
Darling.
I think Ejiofor needed to get out of there and create some room. Bringing an extra guy up just makes it harder. The ball handler has nowhere to go.
Hopkins. 6 threes. Put up and in by Bryce Hopkins.
Late game, they just flare him in. You got to get it up. Bryce Hopkins up to the task.
Council steering his way into the paint. Working on Ejiofor. White outside. Leans. Loose. White.
And all of a sudden, Coach, St. John's having a hard time closing down these possessions.
They're not getting stops.
It's Ejiofor. The junior darling has it. Ejiofor 3. Rebound collected inside by Council.
He's 0 for 4 from 3 today.
Timeout, Kansas is left in regulation. It's Peterson. A difference of a second. Game clock and shot clock. Peterson fouled as he fired. Sellers was down there.
Man.
Peterson to tie. Kansas on a 23-9 run. 14 seconds in regulation. And a quick.
They have plenty. Yeah.
Well, they got a lot to give.
Hopkins all right. It's Darling. Rosario.
To move the ball up here. We're going to take another one
right
here.
Wow. That's on Badunga.
All right, now they cannot foul.
And now you're down to 3.9.
But exactly. Great job. St. John's just kept down and into the backcourt, allowing them a lot of time. Now Bill Self and his staff making sure no fouls.
This is going to be Darling. He's got to go.
Darling puts it up. Johns is going to the Sweet 16.
Homeboy did not make a single shot the whole game.
Yeah, that was
he
his first
made,
shot.
he had, it was 0. He had
Right.
no points the entire game. But shout out to him for, still shooting with confidence and not giving up and still taking that shot. I tell my son, like, you're not gonna if you don't know what's going to happen if you take take the shot. Like, what's the like? You might as well go ahead and just go for it. You know what I mean? And win it
Yeah.
for him.
Reminds me of a game I had one time. I was playing terrible the
Shoot your
whole
shot. Gotta
game.
shoot your shot. Huh?
I was playing awful, and I missed every shot.
Uh-huh.
And then it came down to the last shot, and
Mhm.
they passed me the ball, and I was able to make the game winning shot, and we ended up winning. And it was the only shot I made the whole
Mhm.
game. I still felt bad because I played so terrible, but I was happy that we
Mhm.
got the win.
Mhm.
Look, I didn't have Kansas going
I
for
mean, I didn't when it needed to. Some-
right. I didn't
I,
have
I'm, I,
Kansas.
I thought they were going to at least get past. No, I thought they were going to get to Sweet 16 at least.
Yeah, I didn't
I didn't
have
think they're
them
going to be
getting.
out so soon.
Yeah, I didn't have them being St. John's on any of my brackets. I just
You did?
no. I believe in Coach Patino more than I believed in the product that
Mhm.
Kansas was putting on the floor. When your best, a lot
Mhm.
of times you follow your best player's lead, and I had concerns
Mhm.
about Darren Peterson. He played like trash, 5 of 15. It just wasn't a good performance that you expect from a guy who's supposed to be number one, number two pick in the draft. Um,
Do you
he
think he should
doesn't.
still go number 1 or number 2?
I wouldn't pick him. I
Number
wouldn't
1
take him.
or number 2?
No, no, I wouldn't take him at all. I wouldn't. I mean, I don't give a damn what pick I had. I wouldn't take him. I
Mhm.
just
Or you wouldn't
he's
take him
not
at
the.
all, like not even like top 10,
n-
top 20.
No, I wouldn't take him. I wouldn't. I mean,
Okay.
somebody's gonna take him because the talent is there.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
I saw Ben Simmons in college, and I was like, I wouldn't touch him. And now,
Mhm.
that's what I'm saying. Some guys, I just look at him like, nah,
Mhm.
he's not that guy. Um, I can he may end up being a solid role player or something like that.
Mhm.
I've seen guys. OJ Mayo was hyped up when he was coming out of USC. I was like, he's a role player. Like, it's not the guys.
Mhm.
I like the Banster. I
We'll
didn't
get to him
have
a little
BYU.
bit.
I didn't have BYU going far either, but I thought BYU was a one man army,
Yeah, we'll
and
get to him a
the
little bit.
it was gonna be the Banster or bust after that, but shout out to St. John's.
Mhm.
They played, they did. Coach Patino is a great
Mhm.
motivator of these young men. He knows
Mhm.
how to push their buttons. He knows how to get them to step up and get them amped up. And they went out there and they played some clamp type defense. They
Mhm.
weren't getting Kansas anything the
You
whole
got to
night.
down the stretch, man, especially when you're playing a good team.
Right, right. I
Down
mean,
the
they
stretch.
gave up they had a 4 point lead, like we just saw in the clip. They had a 4 point
Mhm.
lead late, and they gave it up, but they still had the resolve, and they still had the guys. And shout out to Dylan Darling, who
Mhm.
one shot the whole game,
The whole
but
game.
it
Yep.
was the shot that mattered, and he had the
It
confidence.
did.
I was hearing that he actually during that timeout, Coach Patino was drawing up the play, and Dylan Darling said, "Just give me the ball. I got it, Coach." I mean, this is a guy who hasn't scored the whole game, and he
Good for
goes and
him.
he tells Coach Patino, "Don't even worry about it. Give it to me. I want the shot." And you give it to
Shout out to the
him.
coach for trusting him too.
Yeah. Shout out to the coach, but that's the kind of stuff that I want to see out of my superstar guys.
Mhm.
Coach, don't even worry about it. We ain't drawing nothing up. Give me the
Mhm.
ball, and I'm gonna take us to the
Mhm.
house. And so I appreciate that. I mean, look,
And honestly speaking, I mean, Kansas probably wasn't expecting him to take that game winning shot, because he had played so bad the entire
right?
game in terms of shooting, so
Yeah,
they weren't thinking that he would be the one, to get to take that shot. So that's why I always say don't underestimate anybody. Everybody needs to get a man to pay attention.
Yes,
Don't
I
leave
agree.
nobody open in the corner. Like no nothing. Nothing at all.
I would be
Um,
kicking myself if I were Kansas.
right.
I'm not letting that guy drive to the basket and score on me for a game. With not that guy. If it were Edgefor or somebody like that, fine.
Mhm.
But that guy, no.
Reese said, haven't watched. What's up, Reese? Haven't watched LeBron in years. It's not even basketball anymore. It's basketball.
I
Not like
mean,
the way not how we used to watch it, Reese. No, but it's still
yeah,
basketball.
he hasn't watched in years, so
What's up, Nasir? I only care about Arkansas and Houston and men's college basketball. I've watched more women's ball. The women's games, some of them, not too many, have been close. A lot of them have been like just not even like in the
yeah,
same realm.
yeah.
I'm just like, why are you even out there? Like, did you game plan at all? Or did you just say, hey, let's just go and just see what happens? Like,
Just a lot of
I,
chalk.
I can't tell. I'm like, ooh, what's going on? But speaking of so hold on, let me pull this up real quick. We're talking about. Actually, we'll do this first and then I'll pull it up. All right, so he's not the only one, that's on the upset. A lot of people had Kansas getting a lot further in their bracket and just did not work out. AJ DeBanza, I said how I felt about him and it panned out to be very much true. He had, I believe, 35 points. The next leading scorer had 14. And I was
Right,
like,
right.
that's not gonna work. Not when you're playing in this kind of,
No.
Somebody else has to get the ball. It cannot be the AJ show. But with that being said though, do you think not for you, but for like a GM standpoint, that AJ and or Darren Peterson that their draft stock hurt a little bit?
I don't think AJ DeBanster hurt his stock at all. I mean, Peterson maybe, but Peterson stock may be hurt not only because of his poor performance and
Mm-hmm.
all the other things that going on around him, but because Acuff has been so good.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on what you need in the draft, if you need a point guard,
yeah,
then you go Acuff. But even with the way Acuff has been performing, he's been great.
mm-hmm.
DeBanster is going number one. I mean, he just has the NBA body already. He's already a scorer. I mean, he doesn't have you don't have to wait 2 or 3 years for him to develop into a great player. He's going to be right out the box, ready to go. The kid is a great player. He's the best player coming out in the draft, and with his size and athletic ability and the ability to score, I don't see him not going number one. It's almost a lock. Whoever has the number one pick is gonna take the master. I didn't expect much out of BYU. I knew what BYU was. BYU. I mean, we just saw it in the tournament, in the conference tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
BYU is a one-man army. It's the best of bust. You got one guy out there trying to show the rest of the world, rid of the NBA scouts, why he should be taking number one. And it wasn't about the team winning. It was more about his performance.
It's about him.
Right.
That's it.
It's about his performance. And that's what BYU paid for. That's why they gave him $7 million to go to BYU, so he could put up numbers and show that, we can get great players at BYU. So it's more about for the next generation of talent that comes through BYU. But clearly, he was worth every dime that they paid him.
I disagree. If I'm paying you $7 million, I expect to get to at least a Sweet 16. If I'm paying you $7 million, I'm not just paying you to come here and put on a show for you and not help the team. That's just me personally.
Yeah, you're looking at it from a basketball standpoint. I'm looking at it from a financial standpoint. How much money did BYU make this year? Did they make more than $7 million because they had the best? I'm not talking about wins and losses. I'm talking about actual monetary revenue that came into the
I understand
school.
what you're saying.
From that aspect, because at the end of the day, it's a business. And a lot of these schools are just like the NBA teams. A lot of these owners, they don't care about winning. We fans, we care about winning and championships and all that. They win when they make money. And so from that aspect, I think he was worth every dollar he got. From the way you look at it, I agree with you. Because Kentucky spent more money on NIL than anybody. And $20 million, and they're at the house. If you didn't make 40 million, 50 million, then it was a bad investment.
As far as AJ goes, like I said, I don't know how much they made back in terms of revenue and how many seats were sold out at the games and so on and so forth. But I'm taking him number one overall, meaning I'm expecting him to be the face of my franchise. He's going to be the guy to lead this team into the future, so to speak. I don't know if I'm taking him number one overall, not for that purpose. Now, if I'm bringing him on a team that already has, other players, like for example, Indiana, I'm not sure where they're gonna pick. They know they did awful this year. I'm not sure where they're gonna end up picking that. I could see him going some place like that. They need a big, they got rid of Miles Turner. They have Obi there, but Obi, he's a role player. He plays his part, but you've got Tyrese there, obviously, who's the traditional point guard. You have other pieces around. I think he could fit in nicely there. But the way he plays to me, I don't think he makes others better. So if I'm going to draft you to be number one overall on my team and lead my team, into the future, I haven't seen that from him yet. Now, can he learn the next level how to do that? I'm not saying
Right.
that he can't. Nothing's impossible, but it's too much of just the him show. And this is a team sport. Like you can't be, for
Right.
me, in my opinion, you can't be the face of a franchise and lead a team if you're always focused about your individual stats.
Yeah, where I tell like high school students, like you gotta go get yours so you can go to the next level. And
He was
same
going to
with
go
college.
anyway. He wasn't like he was not going to go if
Oh
his
yeah,
team got to 316.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know many rookies that come in the league, um, and everybody already knows they're a distributor of the bat. LeBron probably is the outlier when it talks about a guy who came into the league who was already like focused on getting the teammates involved and doing all that. Other than that, most rookies come in, they're trying to get their next contract, and they learn over time how to be. When they learning how to win, they're learning how to be good
Mm.
teammates, things like that. Because you playing with other talented players. Once you get to the NBA, you're playing with the best of the best. But out of the box, the first thing they want to know is, can you get your 25? Can you get your 30? Okay, we're gonna coach the rest of it with you because you're gonna be playing with other guys on the team who are gonna, demand that you play team basketball. So
I like him in
I'm
Brooklyn too.
yeah, so I'm not worried about. I mean, hell, anybody. If the Hawks get the number one pick, they're taking the Basta. It is, it is what it is. You're trying to win. You're trying to get the most talent that you can, and then the coach, his job is to coach the team.
The
I
talent has to mesh together. It's not just about having a whole bunch of talent. Do they complement each other?
Yeah, it's an arms race in the NBA,
Do
and
they
and
complement each other?
and then you
The
got to have a
OKC
coach.
has a lot of talent, but they complement each other.
Right, right.
The Spurs, they have a lot of talent, but they complement each other the way they play.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. But you need to have that talent. I mean, because you could try to
Well,
get
the
a whole
Hawks
bunch
have
of role
talent though.
players. You could try to get a whole bunch of role players that might complement each other, like Detroit. Like we think they got a good team. They complement
OKC
each
as
other.
well. They got a lot of role players.
Okay, she got a lot of great players. I mean, Jalen
I
Williams
wouldn't.
is
I
a
wouldn't consider. I don't consider Wiggs great. I don't consider Casey
not.
Wallace great.
No,
They're
I
they're,
think
they're
I
great in
think
their
their top
role.
three. I
You
think their
know.
top three players are great young players. SGA, Jalen Williams,
Yeah, I was
and
talking about them. No, I was talking about
and
their bench.
Chet.
They're like
Oh
their
yeah, everybody else is solid.
their second. Their second unit.
Yeah, yeah. All those other guys are solid. And Lou Dort is really good.
Yeah,
I
he's a
mean
starter. Yeah.
yeah. I mean they got they have a lot of good players on their team. They're
That's
deep
what I'm saying.
too.
Like I said, they have like a lot of good players. I mean, no, I'm not talking about, not without the starters. I'm talking about. I'm talking about everybody else.
Oh
Outside
yeah,
of
yeah,
Chet and J Dub and of course SGA.
yeah.
I'm gonna read this mock draft, y'all. Let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments, and of course, now let me know what you think about this. So right now, this is obviously not set in stone. They have Darren Peterson going to Sacramento. Oof, I feel bad for him.
Yes,
They have
Sacramento would be dumb if they did
they
that.
have AJ going to Washington. AJ Alex Sar. I don't
Trey
know.
Young, yeah, yeah.
Um,
I like that.
um, Indiana, Cameron Boozer. I don't know if I like that, but that's what they have him at. Number 4 for the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
I would love AJ there more than Caleb. I do like Caleb though. But I would like AJ more in Brooklyn, personally. Um, So yeah, I'm around the top 5. I'm not gonna go with it to 10, y'all. Um, Utah Jazz, all right. Kingston Flemings, Atlanta Hawks. I'm gonna go to 10. 'Cause I'm like, where's Darius Acuff? Keaton Wagler to the Hawks. Here we go. Dallas Mavericks, Darius Acuff Jr. with Cooper Flag, and then Kyrie if he ever comes back. Memphis Grizzlies, Mikael Brown Jr. Chicago Bulls, Nate Ahmed. I remember him from the game. Milwaukee Bucks, Braden Berry, so we followed also in high school. What do you guys think about this mock draft? Anything that you would change? Drop it
I
in the
hate
chat. Naughty, what you think?
I hate those. I hate stuff like that.
Why do you hate it?
I would never read anything like that. It's trash. First of all, the NBA has a lottery. They haven't even done a lottery yet. So how do you know who's picking
Yeah,
where
and
and
this is
what?
why that's why it's a mock. Yeah.
I don't like mocks in
Mm-hmm.
in any sport because they're
Okay.
so off. They're never on. They're never accurate. I
Gotcha.
mean, I get it. It gives like fans something to talk about and discuss and what ifs and
Mm-hmm.
hypotheticals and all this kind of stuff like that. I just don't really get into hypotheticals. I like to have more educated, you know, guesses, sort of say, or insight into what you believe might happen.
So
Um,
what are you thinking?
well, I think first the NBA is going to have a lottery. Then once they have a lottery, we'll know who's picking first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Once we get that, then we can start to say, okay, I think this team should take this player or this team should take this player. But for me, regardless of how the teams stack up in the lottery, I think the first pick, I think any team that doesn't take the bouncer first has done. I don't think that GM is going to keep his job because if you pass on the bouncer and he becomes one of the best players in the league, like who's the dumbass that passed up on the bastard when clearly he was a sure thing. So I just think,
I don't
you
think
know,
anybody's a sure thing.
I mean nobody's never a sure thing, but it's something like I remember Detroit took Darko Milicic over Carmelo Anthony. And
Mm-hmm.
people were like, what the hell is Detroit doing?
Mm-hmm.
Why how you pass up on Carmelo Anthony at number 2 and you take Darko Milicic and it turns out Darko
Mm-hmm.
Milicic was nobody and Carmelo Anthony is a top 75 all-time player. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you just some of these teams try to outsmart themselves. Don't outsmart yourself. Take the for sure thing, the closest thing to a for sure thing that there is right now. And right now that's AJ DeBouncer. There's no question about it. I mean, so like no, just the the the
I'm
the
personally not as blown
the
away
Golden
as
State
other
Warriors
people
took Wiseman. He didn't play his last year in high school. He didn't really play in college too much, and you passed up on LaMelo. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
Like
I don't.
now
Yeah,
you
well, if he,
set the
I
franchise
didn't
back.
really watch James Wiseman when he was in college, but if he's not really playing in college or high school, then that doesn't make any sense at all.
Right.
Let me read this comment real quick. Nasir, the marketability of men's college ball has fallen because I never heard of these guys. Really, I heard a lot of them from high school, but my son watches them as well. Also, when I was coming up, we had magazines like Slam and others that promoted plays while they were in high school. I believe I saw AJ on Slam. It was a digital copy, digital cover. I'm not sure. I could have sworn I've seen AJ around. I've seen the Boozer twins around. Now
Right.
some of the other ones I haven't seen too tough, like Darius Akoff, and I haven't seen Caleb. I saw Caleb. He like a documentary. Back when he was still in high school. We saw him. I watched
Mm-hmm.
him on YouTube. Braden Berries. We saw him at the McDonald's All American game. We actually saw all these players at McDonald's All American game. Like 2 years ago now. But in terms of marketability, like the ones who I guess are more at the forefront, you see them in little commercials and things here and there. But yeah, I think for me personally, I think it's more exciting than the women's college basketball. And that's when it gets down to like real close. Right now, I'm
Right.
like, what's going on in these games? Like what's happening? Uh, but
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you, Nasir. I
I
hear you.
think
It's
this
different.
year,
It's
I
different
think
now.
right. I think this year the men's college basketball had more attraction than the women's. Last year it was definitely the women's. I would say the last 2 years with having Angel and Caitlin and Paige Beckers and all those girls out there playing. I think they were definitely more exciting than the men's. But this year with the amount of talent that you got, I mean,
Mhm.
Jamal Mashburn, I saw him on CBS, and I know he caught a lot of flack, but
Mhm.
he said if Cooper Flag would come out in this draft, he would go 6 or 7. Like these guys, like that's what I'm saying. Like these guys are good. This class that's coming out right now, this season, these guys are really good, and it's going to be a good draft. You got a top 10 pick, you're going to get a good player on your team.
Um, I think for me, um, I just think as a GM, be mindful for me anyway of just going for the very popular star player in college. Does that player you're bringing in work well with the people you have already on the team? Now, if you're rebuilding your whole entire franchise, you got multiple
Right.
picks and different things like that, that's something different. But if you already have like the Wizards, they've made some moves, the past couple of years. Like they're not like starting all the way over, from like round zero, so to speak. The Pacers, oh sweet Jesus, the Nets, another team to hold your breath for, not hold your breath for. Other teams, Sacramento, I don't know what the Kings are doing. Honestly, I have no clue what that team is doing. I mean, it really baffles me. It gives me a headache.
They're tanking.
I have no idea what they're doing at all.
They're
I feel sorry
tanking.
for anyone who gets drafted there. I mean, shout out to you for living your life and accomplishing your goal of getting to the NBA. But man, is the road going to be an uphill battle with that franchise right there. Um, but yeah, honestly speaking, I think Boo should be a little bit higher. Personally, to me, she should be top two.
Yeah, I
I
don't.
think Darius Akoff should be top five from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I definitely think Darius Akoff
I
should
know
be
he should
top
be top
5.
five.
I
Not
think
top 10.
Boozer, he may drop, because he really lacks athletic ability. He's a good player, good shooter. I think his ceiling is a good role player in the league. He can be one of those guys that
Mhm,
for 10, 10 to 12 years, he's a guy that you want on your roster who can help you win championships
mhm,
if you got the other great players around him. But I
mhm,
don't see him as being that talent that can be the number one option on the team that competes for a championship. So, you know, I think he may drop a little bit, but
mhm.
he's definitely a good player. And I think he's definitely a lottery when we talk about top 15. I think he's definitely a lottery, but I wouldn't take Boozer in the top 5.
I would. I think Caleb might drop because of the injury. And then some players like Darius, for example, we get a chance to see more of him, especially in these big moments and what he can do. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's helpful for him, in terms of increasing his draft stock. So it's unfortunate, when players get hurt. You get to see him like in the biggest moments, like in March Madness, for example. But he got hurt even before that. I do expect him to drop. I'm not going to say out of the top 10, but I think he's going to drop out of the top 5 before it's all said and done. I could be wrong, y'all. This is
Well,
just my guesses, y'all. I could be
yeah.
wrong.
Well, the tournament is one thing. The tournament is for us and for the GMs too. They want to see how you play against top teams and against other top guys
Mhm.
at your position
Of
and
course.
whatnot. But when this is all said and done, they're gonna bring these guys in for workouts, and they're gonna
Yeah,
put them
hopefully he's
through the.
healthy, by then.
Yeah, well, if you're not healthy, then it's gonna definitely lower your stock.
Hopefully.
But
I hope that he is.
right, but if you're healthy enough, they're gonna bring you through to have these workouts, and some of these
Mhm.
workouts they're gonna have you going up against top guys who they also want to work out. They can
Mhm.
bring in Darren Peterson and have him work out against one of the other top
Mhm.
guys. You can have a cuff come in and work out against other top guys. Guys, you don't stop competing after this. You start
Mhm.
competing because now these teams want to they got to get it right. Jobs on the line. General
Mhm.
managers, this is where you make your bread and butter at. How did
Mhm.
I do in the draft? Head coaches, their jobs on the line. So they're gonna, bring you in and put you through the gauntlet to see if you're the guy that they should take number 1 or number 2 or number 15 or number 20. Guys drop all the time in the draft and guys move up all the time. And you're like, I
Mhm.
didn't see that happening. Well, that guy
Mhm.
opened some eyes when they brought him in for his individual workout. So that guy, he left a lot on the table when they brought him in for his workouts, attitudes, interviews, how those things go. Do you really want to win? Do you love the game? Because that's one of the big things a lot of GMs are trying to find out now with this new generation of guys who are coming up through the ranks, these AAU kids who really are rich kids playing basketball. They're not really taking the kids off the street, though. Kids who are hungry. These kids are hungry, so they got to find out, how hungry are you? Do you really love the game? Or are you really willing to sacrifice it all to win? And so they got to bring them in and really put them through these tests to find this out, where 10, 15 years ago, you knew if a guy was hungry because you knew where he came from and you knew who his parents were. It's different now.
So this right here, let me move on. I'm not even sure why this, for me, I don't know why it went viral, but I was like, okay, maybe I'm missing something. What's the problem? But I like hard coaching, so this didn't really bother me at all. Share my screen so you guys can see. Okay. All right, you guys. Here we go.
Oh, I love this clip.
Can you guys hear it? No, I'm not sure.
This is just a short time ago.
We read lips? Y'all read these lips?
Yeah, that's coach and start player. This is just a short time ago.
I hear that. Did y'all read the lips?
Yeah, I love that clip. That clip was great. It just gave me it gave me chills, man. It was like, yes, I mean, I love it, and I loved her response at the press conference when she spoke about it. I want to be coached. This
Absolutely.
is a girl. This is a woman who wants to be coached, and she wants to be coached hard. All these little punk ass little boys out here who, when the coach get in their face and they coach yelled at me. Man, get your weak ass off the court. I love coaching. I love the old school coaching because I believe in you, but you gotta go show me that you are what you say you are. And that's how she when in the press conference, she said, I told coach when I got here, I want to be coach hard. Don't be doing all this soft stuff. Don't be soft with me. Don't coach me. Yeah, I love that. I love it. It just
I love it. I love accountability. I love when coaches and even players, even like your teammates, hold each other accountable. You know what I mean? You're not playing your best today. You didn't show up at practice on time. You're not giving 100%. What's going on? Lock in. Come on, we got game swim. We got a practice to run. I love it. Are you your best at all times? I personally, I was like, why is this going viral? Like, is it because the coach is white and the girl is black? I'm like, what's the problem here? Because for me, I'm just like, okay, I believe in you, but you have to want it for yourself. That is so freaking true. I could believe in you all I want. I could see the brightest stage, all the stars, align for you. But if you don't want it, I can't really help you, because I'm not playing on the court for you, so you got to get out there and show me that you really, really want it. And I love that she wasn't offended, and she wasn't like, oh, well, coach was mean or, whatever have you. I want to be coach hard. I respect it. I will say to what you were saying about the guys, who are a little bit on the softer side. She's not one of, no offense to the young lady. She's not one of the players who are like a Juju, or a Kiki Rice and so on and so forth. I feel like the players that have the NIL deals, that have the popularity, a lot of it has gone to their head. So it's like, okay, you paid me $5 million to be here. Like, kind of watch who you're talking to, okay? Time out. I need to go sit down, coach. My feet hurt. I got a cramp. I need to go, sit out, for the next game or two. And because they're paying them so much money, and there's a lot of excitement around these players, they kind of get away with certain things. Whereas the women, I don't have that luxury unless you're one of them, the ones people really coming to see, and you're really popular, which is not as many of them as compared to the guys. They got to kind of take it on the chin, and just suck it up and just deal with
Pause.
it. Pause. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Well,
Um,
I think this clip went viral because she was coaching her hard, and people initially was like, "Oh, I can't believe she's yelling at this girl," but then
mhm,
she had the press conference. But watching the UConn and UCLA game last night, which was a great game,
mhm,
until it got to the end, it kind of got out of hand in the last 3-4 minutes. But
mhm,
the whole time during the game, they're talking about
mhm. Raising
Hurley,
kids.
Coach Hurley, and Coach
Mhm,
Cronin, how, man, these are some old school coaches. These are some old school coaches. And then they brought Tom Izzo in, and
mhm,
he's old school, and they were just talking about, and they love these old school coaches, and their players love them. And
mhm,
what they're really saying is there are only a few coaches left who can really coach their kids. There are only a few coaches left who can really get in their kids' face, yell at them,
mhm,
and show them tough love, because all these other coaches and all these other kids and their parents, and Charles Barkley spoke about it, and it was one of the best things. I don't put a lot of stock in what he says, but when he said this, he was saying you're supposed to get coach harder. And for those kids, those parents, and those fans who don't like their kids to get coach hard, those kids need to find new parents and new fans. And at just the end of the day, you're supposed to get coach hard. Your coach put so much into you.
We
You
also
know,
live in a different time. People are more sensitive. When I see people
yeah,
like on,
very
on Instagram
sensitive.
yelling or coach yelling at a player or a player yelling at a coach or whatever have you. We're in such sensitive times. If you say the wrong thing, and it could be like the smallest thing. I'm not talking about anything that's like highly offensive.
Right.
Something that's like really small, and it's like, okay, you could tell a person didn't mean any harm by it, but they blow it up, and they make it this huge viral moment, and this big story that doesn't need to be. And then it's very sensitive times, across the board.
You're
You
right.
kind of tiptoe, around. I will say there are some players who they can't take being coached hard. Some players that to me also the makes a coach great, because you can't coach every player the same. Some players,
Right.
like you can just be really hard on them. You can curse them out, slap them on the butt, so to speak, and they're gonna come up. They'll come back the next day. And they're gonna be better. And there are some, if you talk to them too hard, too rough, like they kind of, I don't know, shut down,
Right.
into their shell. So but I will say back to what you said, and Barkley, if you want to get to the next level, you gotta be able to take it on the chin, you know,
Pause.
because
Yeah.
nobody has time to coddle your feelings on the next level.
Yeah, as a coach, you have to be able to coach your best players. You can't yell at all the players and all that kind of stuff, but your
Mhm,
best players have to be coachable. And that's what makes them great, and that's what makes your team great. You look at guys like Tom Brady. As great as Tom Brady was, Belichick was able to coach him. You look at Tim Duncan. As great as Tim Duncan was, Pop was able to coach him. He wasn't able to coach Kawhi. He had to get rid of
hold
Kawhi because Kawhi was a little
hold
bit on the
on.
soft side. But it's like, no, I like my best players have to be able to be coached, and that will translate down to the rest of the staff.
I'm gonna read Nasir's comment real quick. I'm like, really, Nasir? You don't like it unless the coach is known for coaching all players. Some coaches know who to challenge.
Right,
Um, I'm not familiar with this coach specifically, so I don't know if this is her style with all of her players or just this one player. I understand what you're saying, Nasir, but for me, sometimes you have players on a team who don't necessarily really care about being better, and if you don't care, then I'm not going to waste my time in trying to uplift you and invest in you and try to pull the best out of you to get to the next level, be the best you can be. So some people are just there, just to get their scholarship, and graduate, get their degree, and then
yeah.
move on in life.
Hmm.
This she might want to go to the WNBA, she might want to play overseas or something. I don't know, like, what her goals are, you know. But that could be why in this specific instance, the coach was coaching her harder than it seems the rest of the, you know. She don't want no soft coaching, like, but
Right.
that's her personal thing. Now everybody's on the team, they might feel a little bit differently, But yeah, I mean, look, as a coach, you for me, I want my son on a team where a coach who is going to push him to be his best, who's going to challenge him, who's going to hold him accountable, who's not going to make no excuses or take no excuses. But that's how I am as a mom. That's how I am as a person anyway. So that's why I don't. It doesn't bother me. I don't want him to. No, don't coddle him. Like show up. And if you can't show up, then sit down. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, if you can coach your best player, then it goes down to the rest of the roster because now the coach don't have to really necessarily coach all the other girls or guys like that because that best player will. Hey, if I allow the coach me, then you best believe you need to be where you need to be. You need to show up on time.
Mm-hmm.
I need you. I need you to
Yeah.
be there. I need you to be playing defense. I need you to be jumping for loose balls because
Yeah.
I'm the leader, and I'm getting
Set the
yelled
tone.
at.
Yeah.
Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna yell at you, and you ain't got to deal with the coach. You got to deal with me. You got to deal with the players in the locker room, and that's why I like the best players to be able to be coach hard because it goes down to the rest of the players that this is what we're doing. This is how we're operating. This is what our culture is. And so I really love that. And a lot of these girls are willing to
Mm-hmm.
be coached hard because they understand that they have more to fight for. A lot of these guys, like you said, they take things for granted. They're the guys. We're gonna get X, Y, Z. These girls are fighting for fair pay. They're fighting for more money. They're fighting
Mm-hmm.
for a chance
Not
to gain
anymore.
TV
They got what they wanted.
contracts. Yeah, I mean it's a start, but it's still when you compare it to the men's,
Mm-hmm.
it's pocket
Well,
change.
no. Well, I mean,
Uh,
first off, their game is not, they don't make as much money as the guys, so it's just gonna be
Right,
within,
right.
you know.
But they have to start
Yeah,
somewhere, and these
of
girls
course, yeah,
they understand just it's no different than you
gotta start
know
somewhere.
a lot of
That's right.
melanated people, or for lack of a better word, black people. We have to work twice as hard to get the
Mm-hmm.
same things that the privileged white people get. That's just we understand that. So
Mm-hmm.
and even when like I watch wrestling, I love wrestling. Like the
Mm-hmm.
women wrestling, my mom she be like, I like the women wrestling more than the men. I'm like, me too, because those women go harder than the men because
They've come a long way.
those
The
women have had
women's
to
wrestlers,
fight
yeah.
to get TV time, to get the same pay-per-view opportunities, to get the same amount of championship. They have to fight so much harder to get
Mm-hmm.
half of what the men get.
Yeah.
So a lot of times they go harder than the men, and that's what I'm seeing out of these women, especially in college basketball. You can coach them harder than you can coach these boys because those women understand the task that is at hand, and they got to go get it. And in order for them to go get it, they have to be extra great. And so I appreciate that, and I appreciate them understanding the trials that they have to go through to get a piece of what the
Mm-hmm.
men are getting.
Before we get out of here, guys, there was something that Nadi mentioned to me, and I was like, let's just talk about it on here. Um, not as many dark skinned melanated college men specifically in college basketball. Why do you think that is?
It's a microcosm of society, you know.
Mm-hmm. Which
Um,
elaborate.
if you watch TV, if you watch the movies, it's a constant theme.
Mm-hmm.
And I really it bothers me
Mm-hmm.
in the movies. You just about every movie now, a TV show, the black girl with the white guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're killing black couples are being destroyed. You look at social media,
Mm-hmm.
the way they market social media, the black girl, she
So,
can't stand the black guy. The black guy,
so
he can't
you
stand the
saying, hold
black
on,
girl.
to bring it back to basketball, you saying that
Bring
you
it back
feel
to
like they're
basketball.
moving more dark skinned players out and bringing more the vanilla or the Oreo in.
And you can see it not only and I've been saying this for a couple years now, even in the
Mm-hmm.
NBA. Some of your best players now, it used to be like the black players dominated
Mm-hmm.
NBA basketball. It's not
Mm-hmm.
that way now. They're moving more and more white players in, and these white players are really good. They're getting
Mm-hmm.
the call. They're outperforming a lot of times the black guys. And then we talked about the way basketball is now. They're not taking that kid off the street who's hungry, that black
Mm-hmm.
kid that's trying to get out the ghetto, trying to get off the block, and
Mm-hmm.
trying to you know, create something for his family through basketball. a lot of these kids who are playing basketball, particularly college basketball, now even high school basketball, they're coming from situations where their parents are well off.
Yep.
And a lot of these parents that are well off and that are giving their kids the best coaching and the best opportunities are white families, or it's the family where they have a mixed family where the mom is black and the dad is white, or vice versa, and they're well off, and they're putting these kids, and these kids are the ones that are getting most of the opportunities to shine and play on a high level, develop and get better.
It's money. You know,
Yeah.
it's more about money now. You know, if you don't have the money to pay for your
And
kid,
those are the kids that have the money. The dark skinned kids, the black kids who come from the hood, come from the ghetto, they don't have the money to play AAU basketball. They don't have the money to play for all these teams and to play through the ranks. So unless they're just blessed to be 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", where somebody will take them in and pay the money for them because they believe that this kid, they invest in a kid knowing they're gonna get some on the back end once that kid makes it. Unless that happens, you're not seeing the kids that we used to see back in the day get the opportunities that they used to get. And so it's really watering the game down. And again, these are the kids that have to be coddled. You can't talk to them a certain kind of way. You know, they come from families that, you know, if you yell at them, their parents say, don't yell at my baby. And this is where we're getting, because when you're trying to get when you're trying to get out the hood, you can yell at him. He needs to be playing good. You know what I'm saying? This is our, you know what I'm saying? But that's not what you're getting right now. So I don't like it. I see where it's going, and you see a lot of these. I mean, too many of these top schools. I mean, I looked at Virginia play Tennessee. I was like, did Virginia got any black kids on the team? You know, Tennessee, how many black kids do you have? Like, it was just amazing to me when I was coming up. I never seen, you know, you saw like Providence, and you know, you saw teams in the what's that, the Ivy League, those teams, Santa Clara, you know, you might see Gonzaga, you know, you saw some teams that had a lot of white players, but they were only going to go so far. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you had to have North Carolina was gonna have brothers on their team. Rashid, Jerry Stackhouse, those guys, even Duke. I mean, Christian Laettner was one of the greatest basketball players, but they had Grant Hill and those other guys on. Like, you had to have some brothers on your team. Now it's like, you know, you can win with a bunch of white guys, and I just don't like what I'm seeing. And I hate how to say that, because I'm not a racist or anything like that, but I see what's going on right under my nose. And I
for
don't like
me, I feel like a lot of it. Number one, I don't know how everybody's state is in terms of like basketball opportunities. I'm listening to speak here from New York. There are a lot of teams that you can try out for that are free, that are very, very good teams. Like, for example, Gauchos is a very, very well-known program. A lot of players come through there. New Heights as well as another program. Jerome Ripley, I think he's going to Duke next season. He came through there. There's a few more where that came from. You know, you got to do your research. You know what I mean? Some people have parents who are really, really involved and who spend their time. I'm one of them, you know, researching on Instagram, looking for tryouts and so on and so forth. Some people don't have that, so you kind of got to do it yourself, which is unfortunate, you know, if you don't have someone to support you like that and you don't necessarily know where to look. But if you are really, really talented, I do believe that your time will come in some way, shape, or form. It might not be at one of the Catholic private, you know, tuition-based schools. It might be through a public school, and that'll be kind of how you get yourself, you know, out there. But more so than just, the darker complected, you know, the lighter skin, so on, so to speak. I feel like AAUs become more of just money. You know, they want to be paid. They want to be paid. They don't really care about, you know, developing your skills, or you developing your skills. Sometimes they want you to come already with a certain level of skill. Some people don't have that. A lot of times you see teams that have all these tryouts, and people who are pretending to be coaches, you know, and people don't necessarily know any better, so they're paying, you know, $1,500, $1,800, $2,000 for their kid to be on a team, and they have about 15, 20 kids on that same roster. Only 5 can play at a time. So you have the rest of the kids kids who pay all this money who are just sitting there like this the whole time in the game because they're not really good, but you're taking their money, so you got to really be mindful of where you're putting your kid at. You got to do your research, know what the program's about. Um, and it is unfortunate though. I feel like because it's become so much of a business, everybody's just trying to make money and get opportunity, where they can get in where they fit in. They don't necessarily really care about taking or helping the Rasheeds get out of the hood, so to speak, helping the
Oh yeah.
Jamals get to the next level. And I'm gonna hold some of us accountable for that. When I say us, I mean Black people. If you have a team or someone who does, and you have a Rashid who comes to the gym every day, whose mom may not be around or dad might not be around or whatever, but you see Rashid has talent and the willingness to get better, then help him out. Help Rashid, to get to somebody, who can help him grow and go and so on and so forth. I feel like a lot of sense of community is also gone. Everybody's kind of just looking out for themselves and their kid. And that's a part of it as well. So for me, there's so many levels to this conversation about why, we see certain, more mixed kids that, lighter complected, kids, young men. A lot of people are mixed too. There's a lot of people who are just freaking
Oh yeah,
mixed.
yeah, yeah. That's where it's
Like,
going.
mom's black, dad's white, and vice versa, whatever's going on. But they do have a lot of times, the two-parent households, they have the money, whereas a
Right.
single parent household, sometimes they don't have no
Exactly.
2000, to put their kid in the AAU program. But the top programs typically don't charge you. You just got to be able to get to them. Like you got to be talented to get in them teams because they know they're in the EYBLs. They're in certain circuits where they're sponsored, so you don't necessarily have to pay.
Right.
But you got to be
Well,
talented to get there. They're not just taking anybody.
yeah, in Georgia, it's a little bit different. It's all political. Like if you don't have a trainer, you're not gonna make it, and you got to pay this trainer. Public
Well,
school, nah.
true.
If you're in public school, that means you're not good because the best players, even if they started out in public school, a
We
private
was
school is
public,
gonna
no?
come in. A private school is gonna come in and say, "We want this kid. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
pay his tuition. He's gonna come to this Catholic school, or he's gonna come to Westlake, or he's gonna come
Mm-hmm.
to one of these schools like that." And they don't take you just can't go to these schools. You just can't go to McEachern and be like, yeah, my son
Mm-hmm.
plays basketball. No, your son don't play basketball unless we asked him to come in and play basketball. Then he
Mm-hmm.
plays basketball. So it's very political down here in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
AAU is big, and it's really a money game. So it's really unfortunate, what they've done to the basketball game. But again, it's also a microcosm of society as a whole. You talk about two-parent households. Well, unfortunately, in a lot of our communities, we don't have two-parent households. It makes it very difficult. And you got these women who are single women who they really, they look at their children as an investment, and they really were willing to break themselves for the opportunity to get that child into a football program or a
Mm-hmm.
basketball program. They push all their chips in the middle of the table and
Mm-hmm.
say he either gonna make it we going to hell. And I really don't, it's really sad the state uh, of where we at as a black community. I don't like it at all.
I'm gonna read Nasir's two comments before we get out of here. Nasir, I don't completely agree, but there is politics involved, and that's why I don't watch as much. The quality is not the same. But there's politics and everything nowadays, no matter what it is.
Yeah,
Basically, the NBA doesn't want the Allen Iverson era of tattoos and off the court drama. They want a clean game like their neighborhoods. Um, Allen
I agree with
Iverson
that.
Allen Iverson was also a while ago. And everybody's the thing I hate with those like these kind of statements is like it feels like it's just like a one for all. Everyone that has tattoos and braids is not causing
Well,
drama or
everybody got tattoos now.
no, what I'm saying is I'm talking about his comment specifically.
Right.
Everybody that has braids, who's dark skinned, who might be hood or from the hood and has no tattoos, it's not necessarily people who are filled with drama on and off the court. I feel like that's a stereotype, so to speak. There are a lot of players now who are dark skin with tattoos, without, who don't necessarily cause a lot of drama. I mean, how many? When you think about all the 450 players in the NBA, you can count on your hand. I mean, how many you really hear about often who are constantly in trouble. I think John Morant, is the most recent one that comes to my mind, and that was a couple of years ago now. But the whole gun situation, it's not recent. More so his health now is why I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on with him. But it hasn't been so much of him, in his off the court drama. I love Ant-Man, but I hear about his baby mama issues more than I hear about like him being a problem off the court.
Right.
Um, I can't really think of too many players,
No,
who I
I
hear
mean, I think that's his point. His
yeah.
point is the NBA is trying to clean up the game. They don't want a lot of players who have off the court drama. So that's
But
the
you won't
type
know
of
that until they get in anyway. Like you don't know that unless they're coming in with a whole bunch of issues. You know what I mean? That's something different. But once they
yeah.
know if they come out of college with a clean reputation, so to speak, you don't really know they're going to turn into that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like AI got locked up when he was in high school. Like you already knew what you were getting when
Yeah,
you
but
got
that
a
that was so long ago. I mean, how many
yeah.
players have had those issues? Like and who were like big like AI? Excuse me, not just like
No.
somebody who was on the bench.
Well, I think that's the point. The point is back in, and I think he used AI as an example
Yeah, I get that.
to, but there was a lot of players in AI's era that were like what I'm talking about. They came from a certain place and they
Hmm.
thrived and made it to the NBA. So you every now and then you had to deal with some off the court drama here and there, but for the most part, they were gonna show up and get their check. Now the players are so clean cut. You don't the biggest scandal you have now is he got 3 babies by 3 different ladies. He likes to be with a porn star. Like Ja was the biggest thing because he was on Instagram not doing anything illegal,
He's the
but
last one that I can think of, though.
right, like, but for the most part, today's players are clean cut. It's the LeBrons, it's the Steph Currys, it's the KDs. They tried to throw Kyrie Irving in there on some anti-Semitism, but Kyrie ain't doing them but loving people. So these guys are for the most part clean cut, and they're looking for some guy
Hmm.
every now and then. They do a lot and it's usually a dark skinned player that they're ready to say, oh, look at him. When you got a white guy, Josh Giddey, who's messing with underage girls and that gets swept under the rug, it's like they're always looking for. But so if they can just clean that all up and get rid of all those guys, then that's what they'll do. And that's part of the reason why you're seeing the
Hmm.
foreign player, the Jokic's, the SGAs, the Lukas, now that they got your boy from Duke in Dallas. Oh man, they're gushing over him. They haven't seen nothing like him since Larry Bird, so Cooper Flag.
Yeah.
So this is
Yeah.
what the league is showing. Like, this is who we're looking for. We're not looking for
Hmm.
that guy who came up out the hood and could really ball, who can jump over 10 cars and in a single leap
But
and
I
all
don't
that
think
kind
it's
of
even
thing.
about the NBA and what they're looking for. I think it's more so about, where we are also. You know, the opportunities now for those to even get to the NBA, get to these
Right.
colleges, goes back to your parents, and what opportunities they can place you in if they have the money to do
Correct.
so. I think we might see more hip hop guys, so to speak, if they had the parents, and the know how to put them in certain places where you could see their talent, more so than the other ones. Also we also talk about a big era where a lot of NBA players have more kids. We see now, in high school
Yeah.
and going into
Yeah.
college and so on and so forth as well. So that's also a different, aspect to it as
Right.
well.
Exactly.
Um, you know, Nasir said, "Thank you, Nine. There was a hip hop era when players were missing flights, weed smoking, strip clubs, incidents, unregistered guns, domestic violence, and so on. That was a real period, lady. I wasn't talking about that period, Nadi. I saw where it is now. What I was saying was, since AI has moved on, and this right now, this day and day with these players, there are not too
Mm-hmm.
many outside of Ja, and Ja, he didn't break any law
Not even Ja.
where he was at. He should have been on Instagram with it, obviously.
Right.
But outside of him, I can't really think between players who are causing issues with my point. I don't know anything about that era of unregistered guns and so on and so on. So I can't speak to that. I will talk about that.
Yeah, even guys like Ja, and I told you about how I felt about Ja. Like Ja, you're not that guy. You ain't come up that way.
Mhm.
You're one of those well off
No,
kids who got. You're not from the
yeah,
streets. You're not
two-parent
from the hood.
household. Yep.
Right, you're not from the hood, and you came up having the better for your life. You didn't come up like that. You're one of these well-off kids
Yeah.
who came in. Your
Mhm.
dad played high school basketball with Ray Allen. Like you were good, and so why you pretending like you something that you're not? I don't respect that. Be who you are. Be where you come from,
Mhm.
and so I don't. That's why I don't really ride with y'all like that, because I don't ride with dudes who try to put on for people. Like, dude, you're
He's
not
so
that.
talented. I wanna see
Yeah,
him
you
win so bad.
exactly, but you're not that. You're not a leader. I'm looking for leaders. I'm looking for guys who willing to be great. So really, in this era, what you're talking about, a lot of these kids, because they're coming up through the system where it's parents who are well off, ex
Money.
athletes. A lot of ex athletes kids are playing now. A
Yeah.
lot of these kids are second generation talent because
Mhm.
their parents made 50, 60, $100 million when they
Mhm.
played. Now they can invest that into their kid, and they got an advantage that a lot of these kids who don't have that, they just don't have. And so you're not seeing, it was a funny story that Mace told on It Is What It Is. He said his son told him, "Dad, why you trying to make me hungry when I'm not hungry?"
Mhm.
Like I'm eating. How I'm gonna
Mhm.
be hungry if I'm not hungry? And
Mhm.
that's what these kids are coming in. They not hungry, but how can they be?
Mhm.
When AI was coming up, AI was hungry. And that's the difference. You had a lot of kids who were hungry. Isaiah Ryder, um, is another guy he just put in there. These guys was hungry when they was coming up. Shaq was hungry, so it's just a different era. And I think, now we have to question a lot of times, do this guy really want it? Is he
Mhm.
really about that action? And a lot of
Mhm.
times the guys that really do want it and that are about that action, they're foreign players, because they know that they're
Their
leaving.
training is also different too. That's why I said so many levels to this conversation. Like the way
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
groomed
yeah,
over there and how they're trained and so on is different over here. Over
yeah,
here, they have you have you doing more tournaments. Over there they have you working on more skill, foundation, and basic, skill training, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So there's so much that goes into this conversation, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah,
It
yeah.
really, really, really is. But for
There's
the
a lot.
kids, for the kids who are blessed enough to have parents who have good careers, good jobs. For those young men who have, second generation, the Cayenne Anthony's. I'm not sure if it's going to come out. I think we'll probably say another year. You have the Cayenne Anthony's, the Boozer twins. Really only one
Gilbert
Boozer twin
Arenas'
to
son.
me. Only
Right.
one Booster twin to me should be in the NBA, if I'm being honest. Only one to me, he got to do because his brother and who his dad is. This was
I
my
mean, well,
opinion.
Steph Curry is
Um,
the same.
you their example as well. Bronny, could have benefited, in my opinion, from staying in college another season.
Yeah,
Elijah Arenas, the list goes on and on.
yeah.
A lot of kids,
Oh,
whose
it's just
parents in there,
damn near all the kids now.
um, Rondo, he has a son who plays
Oh
just
yeah,
like
he's
Chris
looking
Paul.
good.
His son is on the same age as my son, also. So there's so many that's coming up. We're gonna see how it all works out, obviously. But those kids obviously have a leg up. They're practicing. Elijah Reeves is practicing with KD. Like he's
Right.
working out with KD and whatnot. That puts you in a whole different
Yeah.
situation than somebody else whose parents do have money, because that's a great practice, the opportunity to be playing, running, doing open runs with NBA players, so
Right.
you know but yeah, you know uh that's that, you guys. We're gonna get up out of here. I enjoyed that conversation. I really, really did, you guys. For those of you who are tuned in, who are you guys? I know not Nadi, excuse me, Nasir wants to see Arkansas and Houston. What matchup are you looking forward to in the next coming days for March Madness?
Uh. Well, I like good games. Definitely this time of year, I watch any game that I think is good. I think on my bracket, excuse me, on my
Mhm.
bracket, um, I pick UConn. They either UConn or Arkansas. I got those two teams. Now, I think I had Florida going a long way. I didn't have them losing to
Mm-hmm.
Iowa. So I
Yeah.
think Florida might have messed up my bracket a little bit, but I didn't have Florida winning it all. I had UConn and I had Arkansas, and I think
Mm-hmm.
in one of the brackets I had St. John's going a long way, maybe to the Final Four. So I'm looking forward to seeing A Cuff, and I'm looking forward to seeing what UConn can do, because UConn has been a very solid program over the last 5 years. I mean, I think
Yeah,
what
they
they
have.
won
Mm-hmm.
two or three national championships in that time. So yeah, I like what Hurley is doing with that squad, and he's one of
I love
those
it.
old school coaches who's
Yeah,
gonna.
he gonna coach you hard too. Everybody's accountable.
Yes, I like.
He gonna play your
I
role.
want
You
to
gonna
see.
play it all.
Right. I want to see one of those type coaches win. I want to see players who are tough and who coach hard and understand that I got to go out here and get it, and I got to be
I believe
accountable.
Stephon Castle came through there. You know, you can tell in
Right.
the way he
Yeah.
plays.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the way he plays. No, I do not. Kaja is dressed like she has a date at Maestro's
Nah,
Lucky
Kaja
Day.
getting bougie, man.
I
She
actually
been in
know
the
this is
gym.
actually this is a gym
Yeah.
this is a
Yeah.
gym sweatshirt. It's a Nike sweatshirt.
Yeah,
I
you've
got
been
some
in the
bits,
gym lately, and now all of a sudden,
you know.
you're changing a little bit, but it's all good. It's all good.
Y'all are hilarious.
What happens?
I don't have any hot day. I damn sure don't. I'm about to go to the gym in a little bit, y'all. So there's no, and my hair will be up in a crazy looking bun with a bandana on. So it will not be one of those, little cute outfits that Instagram girls wear when they work out. Trust me, I am not the one that you want to see at the gym. It's not giving that
You
at
work
all.
out at night?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Daytime yesterday, nighttime today, because I was like out doing all kind of different things. My gym is 24 hours. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Monday After, featuring my guy who's looking for something on the side. I don't know
Yeah,
what's going on
yeah, I
here.
got it.
Oh, real quick before we get out of here, I want to shout out Jackson Smith and Jigba. All right,
Oh yeah, shout out to that young man. Shout out.
setting the whole thing on him.
Yeah.
Highest wide receiver in National Football League. Give him his coin. Give him all his money. All his monions.
How long you think he's gonna be the highest paid wide receiver?
Maybe until next season, honestly. The way it keeps resetting, I'm gonna give him this season because he just also won a championship too, you know what I mean? So that also helped. But next season there'll be somebody else who kind of steps out, and you're like, oh, look at him. He's top 5, you know how it goes.
No, it's gonna be Jamal. Jamal gonna go back and tell them, look, I need to make more money than him.
Well, we're gonna see how the Bengals look.
Deal.
Bengals are cheap, now. If they look like they did, the past couple of seasons.
Guess what?
They're not giving them more money. I don't think.
You gotta trade me then. I gotta be the highest paid.
Yeah, he should ask for a trade. You know what I mean?
Right.
Do what you gotta do if you want.
I gotta be the highest paid wide receiver. So I think Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson is gonna demand that their team pays them more money than what JSN is getting. And I'll give you maybe one season.
Nothing for me if your production is not living up to it.
You can trade me.
And if I had to, I will. Yeah, I will.
Guys
but you're not going to just demand extra, I don't know, 10, 15 million. Right. He was a big part of them getting to the Super Bowl. We haven't gotten there with you yet, or even super close to it, so,
I agree.
Know your place, fella. You know what I mean? But I hope, I said it already. I hope Justin Jefferson leaves anyway. I've been said that. Go be free. Be free, Jetta. Go someplace else. And if Joe Burrow can't stay healthy, Jamar, do what you got to do too.
I mean, as long as those guys get their money, they're gonna be happy no matter where they at. They don't see again.
It depends on, like I said, if you want to win. Some people care about winning. Yeah, some don't care. They just want to get paid.
If a guy's getting paid the most money in his position, he cares about getting paid more than he cares about winning. When you care about winning, you sacrifice some of that money and you spread the wealth around so that you can have the guys around you that can actually help you win. A la Tom Brady, a la Patrick Mahomes, a la Tim Duncan. When you really want to win, I just pay me
Patrick
enough.
Mahomes is different. I mean, he has so many endorsements. He got restaurants, and all money going in different directions. Everybody's not as blessed as that to have, money coming in so many different ways.
A lot of these guys got endorsements. A lot of these guys got 150 million, $200 million contracts, and they still got
Before
commercials.
tax. Mm-hmm.
Right, they still got commercials. Now it might depend on where you live, because
That too.
if you're in Florida, if you're in Texas, or what
Mm-hmm.
other state? It's another state out there that's got
New
these
York,
tax-free money. But don't New York pay high taxes in New York?
you do. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Taxes are
So I
crazy.
mean, guys don't want, you gotta give me extra if I'm in New York.
Yeah.
They hit, if you in Cali, I gotta get extra. But if I'm in Florida, I'm in Texas, yeah, all right, I might get, shave a little bit because
Mm-hmm.
I ain't getting taxed for my money. So yeah. So it all depends on where you at too.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much, Nasir, for tuning in. I will see you on the next live, of course. Everyone have a great night. It's Monday. Have a wonderful week. Be safe. Be productive. God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you guys soon. Good night. Good night. Peace up.
Thank
A-Town
you.
down.